Good morning, class. Hope you are all able to hear me. So, on that note, I'm going to begin with my class for today, which is today I'm actually beginning with the current affairs. Till now, I was taking strategy sessions, but from now, I'm also going to take up these content classes, the GK classes. So, uh, just to introduce you guys, in general knowledge for our entrance examinations, there are broadly two areas. We have static GK and there is current affairs, two broad areas. So one of them, of course, as you are understanding, static GK involves things like history, geography, economy, polity, um, science, miscellaneous, business affairs, etc. That is something which takes place over a period of time. On the other hand, October, this current affairs is something which takes place on a monthly basis. So ideally, because your exam is in June or in July, DUJAT is expected to be in July, or CUCT, ACET in case that's the case. Since that will be in July, we need to do the last 12 months before the examinations. So ideally, we should start from August, or even July, because in June you have exams. But the most important months have always been October to March. So that is why I'm starting with October, because now the time remaining is a bit less. Let's start from October. उसके बाद हम पीछे का कर लेंगे. Right? So on that note, let me begin. Uh, Good morning once again to everyone. I know Holy Weekend is here, so not many of you want to study much, but ठीक है कोई बात नहीं, थोड़ी बहुत पढ़ाई is okay. Right. So this is the motto at Gradeup. सही prep है तो live set है. These are some of the parameters written below. तो आप लोग इनको use करके you can easily join Gradeup. Right. So you can see all these. I'll just keep it open for a moment. मैं जरा YouTube on कर लेता हूँ so that I can, because this is multi window. So let me see. The same class is on YouTube as well. Right. So I'm beginning with the first slide, which is for October current affairs. So I'm going to do bullet points on various events which took place in the month of October. Yes, I can see my class here. Perfect, perfect. चलिए. ओके सो देयर इज अ स्टार्टअप बेस्ड इन पंजाब जो खास करके इंपॉर्टेंट होगा, मैं आपको अलग से बता दूंगा, ठीक है. दिस वन इज नॉट दैट इंपॉर्टेंट, बट लेट्स जस्ट कवर एवरीथिंग. So there's a startup in Punjab called Segura Max Global, also known as Segura Max. They have announced the launch of Keep You Safe. It is a path-breaking, first of its kind technology in the world that aids in achieving significant reduction of viruses on surfaces of the product. So what is really significant is that around 99% of all viruses get killed on the surface. It's a small startup called Segura Max. It's part of Make in India, part of Atmanirbhar Bharat, because it's an Indian company. It's a small company which is manufacturing in India. So it's a lot of government schemes are being successful in this case. So this is a tremendous thing which has come up. Keep you safe, right? So it's a technology. Meanwhile, in Dubai, Dubai is generally known for breaking records when it comes to physical objects, and also when it comes to a lot of research-based things. I'll talk about some of the researches that UAE has done, but right now let's talk about this thing. So the city of Dubai, uh, they have actually broken a record as part of the existing Guinness World Records. I hope you are aware of this term, Guinness Book of Records. Guinness Book of Record क्या करता है? It basically tracks all kinds of records internationally. So they have unveiled the world's largest फाउंटेन. फाउंटेन आप जानते हैं, फाड़ा. सो ये सबसे ऊंचा वाला है आज तक का. उसका नाम है पाम फाउंटेन, and this is located at Pointe, which is basically a complex of five-star hotels. You know, Dubai is famous for its hospitality sector. So this is one more of the this is one more of the things which can attract more and more of visitors to this place. Do keep your questions on. I'm checking for the questions from time to time. अगर कोई questions हो तो मुझे बता देना. Okay, continuing with some more contents. There's an Indian lady. She's an academician. Her name is Dr. Manali Desai. She has made history. She's become the first woman of Indian heritage who is now the head of the sociology department at the University of Cambridge. तो पिछले 800 साल में कैम्ब्रिज यूनिवर्सिटी 800 साल पुराना यूनिवर्सिटी है, जस्ट लाइक ऑक्सफोर्ड, कैम्ब्रिज ऑल्सो वन ऑफ द ओल्डेस्ट. तो वहां पे उन्होंने दिस न्यू थिंग दे हैव सेट अप. Occasionally, I will foray into my mobile phone. I hope that is all right with you because I do need to check out for the live chats. So that is the reason I will. Okay. There's also this thing called the National Nutrition Month in India. So the beauty of current affairs classes is that things completely unrelated to each other we could be covering next to each other. So the seamless interaction of completely unrelated stuff. That is the beauty. So जहाँ पे भी मुझे ऐसे सिंगल पॉइंटर्स मिलेंगे मैं उसको अक्टूबर करंट अफेयर्स करके दिखाऊंगा. जहाँ पे भी मुझे लगे कि it deserves a full slide or maybe more than one slide, then the headline will be on that particular topic. Right, so we have National Nutrition Month. It was earlier called the National Nutrition Week, which used to be held in the first week of October, but this time it has been designated to September, the whole month of September. You might wonder why am I doing September now, but then October में September का cover होता है, right? So I'm also looking at some September stuff. Um, to spread awareness about nutritional needs deficiencies and malnutrition. इंडिया में तीन तरीके के प्रॉब्लम्स ज़्यादा है when it comes to health. One is malnutrition, then we have undernourishment, and we have anemia. So undernourishment is when you get less than the minimum calories. Malnutrition is you do get the minimum calories, but you do not get the right kind of calories, right? The right nutrients you do not receive. So, an anemia, on the other hand, is iron deficiency, and unfortunately, it is fairly common in India, especially among women. So, these are a couple of things that are addressed every year around this period. This time, because they felt that 1 week was not enough, so an entire month was dedicated. And you guys would probably be aware that the month of September was obviously about 6 months after the first lockdowns were initiated. And last year, COVID-19 and the subsequent lockdowns, the lockdowns did manage to save a lot of lives, but they did lead to a lot of livelihoods being lost, and hunger issues and other health related issues spiraled. I wouldn't say out of control, but yes, they increased massively last year. So that is where it was needed to give greater amount of time to these things, right? Okay. Now this is very important. इसको please लिख लीजिए. More than the topic itself, what is important is the fact that there's a new nuclear capable hypersonic missile which was launched. So hypersonic का मतलब क्या है थोड़ा समझ लेते हैं. Sonic का मतलब है speed of sound. Please write this down in your notebook. Sonic means speed of sound. Supersonic means faster than the speed of sound, and hypersonic is significantly faster than the speed of sound, although it remains slower than the speed of light. Light is the fastest thing in the universe so far known. Sound is after that. ठीक है. So it's a nuclear capable hypersonic this thing. So it's a hypersonic missile. It flies fast, very fast, but it also has nuclear capability. Now, what is really important in a year, of course, India does develop a lot of weapons and missiles. That's obviously there. But what is significant is that we need to understand उनका deployment होता कहाँ से है. सो ओडिशा से जितना भी रिसर्च होता है, जितना भी मिलिट्री मिसाइल रिसर्च होता है, वो सारा मैक्सिमम ओडिशा के ऑफ द कोस्ट होता है. उसका कारण सिंपल है. ओडिशा इज ऑन द ईस्टर्न कोस्ट, सो वी हैव द बे ऑफ बंगाल देयर. सो हम समुंदर में करना चाहते हैं बिकॉज ऑब्वियसली वी डोंट वांट ह्यूमन लाइफ टू बी अफेक्टेड बाय इट. Generally, when these missiles are launched, they do not have the shall we say the gunpowder. They don't have the actual weapon in it, but the idea is to um, test how far they can go. उसमें कुछ dummy रहता है. So this doesn't burst, doesn't erupt fortunately, but then if the missile hits somebody or some place, that will be badly affected in any case. It won't erupt. It is not nuclear powered in this case, but it will still affect you. Think of any heavy object that falls on you that way. uh, so that is why it is done on the ocean. Now ocean Arabian Sea में थोड़ा मुश्किल है because उस side we have a not so friendly neighbor next to us, right? तो वहां पे ये testing is slightly difficult, so that is why we do on the eastern side. ठीक है, ओडिशा के off the coast on the Bay of Bengal there's an island. Please write down the name of that island. Let me write it down on the chat window. Yeah, so this island is called Abdul Kalam Island. Abdul Kalam Island. So previously known as Wheeler Island. पुराना नाम था Wheeler Island. ठीक है, so this is off the coast of Odisha. जितना भी मिलिट्री टेस्टिंग होता है मोस्टली यहाँ पे मिसाइल्स का. नाउ सम ऑफ यू माइट बी कंफ्यूज विद पोखरान. पोखरान इज इन राजस्थान. नाउ पोखरान क्या करता है? दैट इज फॉर द सो व्हेन वी लुक एट द डिस्टेंस वी गो टू ओडिशा. व्हेन वी वांट टू सी द इंटेंसिटी बिलो द ग्राउंड दैट्स व्हेन वी डू एट पोखरान. ठीक है, तो वो भी मैं लिख देता हूँ. पोखरान in Rajasthan response is where nuclear tests take place. Okay, so I've written this down for your benefit. You may always check this out, right? Right. Also, there's a third place called Sri Harikota. Sri Harikota is also on the Bay of Bengal, but this is off the coast of Andhra Pradesh and not Odisha. And वहाँ पे क्या होता है? You get सैटेलाइट लॉन्चेस. यू अंडरस्टैंड द डिफरेंस? ओडिशा में होता है मिलिट्री स्टफ. पोखरान में भी मिलिट्री बट स्लाइटली डिफरेंट. यहाँ पे होता है फॉर पीसफुल पर्पसेस बाय द डीआरडी, नॉट बाय डीआरडीओ, बाय द इसरो. इसरो का नाम सुना होगा, इंडियन स्पेस रिसर्च ऑर्गेनाइजेशन. तो वो रॉकेट्स लॉन्च करता है. सो दैट इज डिफरेंट. आई राइट दैट डाउन एज वेल. Rocket launches from Sri Harikota. It's called the Satish Dhawan Launch Center, Sri Harikota of Andhra Pradesh on Bay of Bengal. Okay, just like the previous ones I mentioned. Right, moving to the next topic. Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi inaugurated a summit recently called Raise 2020. So that is for AI, responsible AI for social empowerment 2020. ठीक है, so this he released on the 5th of October 2020. AI, you know, artificial intelligence, a lot in the news these days for good and bad reasons. A lot of people fear that it will take away a lot of jobs. I don't disagree completely. I think it will affect jobs, but I do hope it does end up creating a lot of new jobs as well. Just like computers did in the past and the steam engine did long before that. Right. So, for social empowerment, this is going to take place. Right. Okay. So there was a particular hashtag. I think you guys are aware that for a lot of events these days, hashtags are formulated. तो इसमें ये hashtag create हुआ था. All for AI for all. AI for all. You might get these kind of topics. ये वाला hashtag किसमें release हुआ था? आजकल hashtags बहुत ही important है for business matters. Right, some more of the miscellaneous content. So moving on from artificial intelligence, that's again the beauty of current affairs classes. Artificial intelligence से मैं सीधा sweep कर रहा हूँ towards the monarchy in a country in the Middle East. So have you guys heard of this country, Kuwait? कुवैत का नाम सुना है किसी ने? You can write down on the comments window. में रिलीज हुआ था आजकल हैशटैग My video seems to have disappeared suddenly. Let me just contact the backend team. Right, so I have sent the message. Let's see the response. There's an 80-year-old ex-crown prince of Kuwait. His name is Sheikh Nawaf Al Ahmad Al Sabah. So Al Sabah is the name of the family. All these dynasties, they have family names. You have the Al Nahyan dynasty in Al Nahyan dynasty in Qatar, for example. You have the Al Khalifa family in Abu Dhabi. Similarly, we have the Al Sabahs in Kuwait. So he did not. So he has been succeeded by his brother, who's himself 80 years old. So he's the new after a new king. His elder brother, he passed away. The 91-year-old Sheikh Sabah Al Ahmad Al Jabbar Al Sabah. So India plans to restore 26 million hectares of degraded land by the year 2030. Degraded का मतलब है land which is no longer productive. It used to be productive, but it is not productive anymore. So ये चीज बहुत ही common है for क्या कहते हैं, it's extremely common when it comes to माइनिंग आपको पता है जमीन खोद के निकालना पड़ता है. So obviously that leads to a lot of degradation of land. So this is a very big task that India has taken upon, that has been. So I don't know what happened to my video. I'm just sending a message to a couple of people at Gradeup. So let's see how it works out. Okay, so this was addressed by the Prime Minister of India, Shri Narendra Modi, at the latest UNCCD. Now, what is the UNCCD? Let us understand, and that is why मैंने आपको बताया था for some topics मैं एक अलग से topic डालूंगा. So UNCCD, it deserves a special slide on its own. It stands for United Nations Convention to Combat Desertification. Desertification आज एक बहुत बड़ा problem है. इंडिया में भी प्रॉब्लम है, अफ्रीका में इट्स एन इवन बिगर प्रॉब्लम. सो अफ्रीका में क्या हुआ है, you have probably all heard of the Sahara Desert. Sahara Desert is the world's biggest desert. Now a lot of the sands there are loose, so they flow obviously thanks to the wind. Now as they flow, these sands, they end up covering a lot of the non-deserted land. So that non-deserted land over a period of time turns into desert. Now वो आजकल क्यों हो रहा है? बिकॉज हमने पेड़ पौधे काट दिए बहुत जगह, मॉइस्चर कम हो गया है. अगर मॉइस्चर रहे, बारिश हो, पेड़ पौधे रहे, इट एक्ट्स एज अ ब्रेक अगेंस्ट द डेजर्ट. नाउ अफ्रीका में एक बहुत बड़ा प्रोजेक्ट इन्होंने स्टार्ट किया है. there's a country in West Africa or East Africa called Djibouti. वहां से लेके Senegal, which is in the on the west, there's a city called Dakar, the capital. So Dakar to Djibouti, इन्होंने एक रोड प्लान किया है which will be completely built of trees. तो पूरा जो सहारा डेजर्ट का जो सैंड है वो यहाँ फंस जाएगा, बिकॉज दैट इज एग्जैक्टली द बाउंड्री बिटवीन द सहारा डेजर्ट एंड द नॉन सहारा डेजर्ट. इंडिया में भी एक रोड प्लान है वेरी सिमिलर. पोरबंदर गुजरात में, महात्मा गांधी का बर्थ प्लेस, वहां से लेके पानीपत हरियाणा में, दिल्ली के पास, दिस रोड इज बीइंग प्लान्ड. सो इंडिया इज टेकिंग अ लॉट ऑफ स्टेप्स ताकि डेजर्टिफाई ना हो. ये हरियाणा में, राजस्थान में, गुजरात में काफी प्रॉब्लम है, बिकॉज द एग्जिस्टिंग डेजर्ट दे आर एक्सपैंडिंग, बिकॉज इन दी नेबरिंग एरियाज हमने बहुत ज्यादा वहां पे वेजिटेशन काट दिया है, या ग्राउंड वाटर बहुत ज्यादा हमने पुल अप कर दिया है. ग्राउंड वाटर एक्सेस यूज करने की वजह से दिस is a common problem. That's why this UN body has been formed. It is headquartered in Paris, France. Uh, so this was drafted in 1994 but signed in 1995. I really don't know what happened to my video. Mm. Right, I'll continue anyway. The Secretary General of the UN, he heads the UNCCD as well. So that is a by default position, ex officio. Just like in India, the Prime Minister is the ex officio chairperson of the Niti Aayog. Similarly, this is what takes place at the UN. So Mr. Antonio Gutierrez, who's from Portugal, he's at present the head of UN, and he holds this post. I always say Antonio Gutierrez, the second most popular person from Portugal, second best known after Cristiano Ronaldo, the footballing legend. Right. So I now want to talk about this. हाँ पीयूष, मेरा वीडियो बंद हो गया सडनली, ऑडियो चल रहा है, वीडियो बंद हो गया। नो नो नो, ऑडियो चल रहा है, पूरा पीपीटी चल रहा है, बट वीडियो नहीं आ रहा। एक बार, ठीक है, ठीक है, ठीक है, इट्स फाइन, गोइंग फाइन, जस्ट मेरा फोटो नहीं आ रहा, बाद में ऐड कर लेंगे, ठीक है, ठीक है, ओके। Right. So, Atal Tunnel, as you can understand, my issue has been resolved. At this point, video may not come in, but that's okay. Then I'll be taking many more sessions with you guys. Uspe video rahega. Now just listen to me and watch the PPT. So, Atal Tunnel, named obviously about our former Prime Minister. He was the Prime Minister for 6 years, a little more than 6 years. So, Atal Bihari Vajpayee, उनके नाम पे है ये, और ये newly inaugurate हुआ है. So, the Prime Minister of India, Shri Narendra Modi, he inaugurated this, which is the world's longest highway tunnel. It is in Rohtang, which is in Himachal Pradesh. ये 9 kilometers लंबा है. It's actually more than 9 kilometers, and it connects Manali to the Lahore Spiti Valley throughout the year. So this is amazing. I'm planning to do a road trip here very soon. I hope we can manage. So Lahore Spiti is one of the most remote districts of Himachal Pradesh. It is in a way very similar to Ladakh. In fact, a lot of movies now, of course, Ladakh has opened up, but I remember like 15-20 years back, कभी भी लद्दाख दिखाना हो मूवी में, लद्दाख जाना तब बहुत ही inaccessible था, तो लाहौल स्पीति में शूटिंग होती है. I remember there was a film called Pap starring John Abraham and I think Udita Goswami. So that was shot completely in Lahore Spiti, though it was um, the movie was based in Ladakh technically, but actually it was shot in Lahore Spiti. So it's a very remote area, very high altitude. यहाँ पहुंचना बहुत ही मुश्किल था, but now it whole year ठंड के time यहाँ try reach करना was like really difficult. But thanks to this amazing achievement, in fact, it is the longest tunnel in the world that is above 10,000 feet. 10,000 feet, which is around 3,300 meters. उससे ऊपर की हाइट में इतना लंबा टनल आज तक नहीं कंस्ट्रक्ट हुआ है. Right. So it is constructed under the Rohtang Pass, which is in the eastern Pir Panjal range of the Himalayas. Right. Just wanted to share a few more things. You can just take a look at this for the DUJAT and IPMAT. Couple of programs that may be available to you. Let me just check out for any questions. Right. I hope you've gone through this. Now, this is the batch which has been created for you guys. These are the three teachers. You can take a look at their names, and मैं आपको आगे और information provide कर दूंगा. But for now, you can see this. These are the options available at the bottom of the screen. You can see. Right. So now I want to get back to the content, and I want to talk to you about something called a green embassy. Now, what is it that comes to your mind when I say green embassy? I'm going to give you 30 seconds, maybe a minute. Even if you're watching recorded, you can always think over it. तो क्या आ रहा है आपके माइंड में जब आप सोचते हो ग्रीन एम्बेसी? So embassy, as you can understand, India has embassies all over the world. All major countries generally tend to have embassies in other countries. So when we have these embassies, um, what happens is our presence is recorded in other countries. It is for diplomatic ties. So one of the embassies, and this is India specific, pertaining to India. So one of the embassies that we have in another country, it has been designated the label of Green Embassy. I'm sure you guys are aware that in today's world, environment and climate change is very important. So any effort which is taken to fight climate change, that is definitely welcome, and it's usually called a green thing. सो इंडिया का एम्बेसी है एक देश में कॉल्ड मैडागास्कर. आई डोंट नो इफ यू हैव हर्ड ऑफ दिस कंट्री, बट आप लोग मैप खोलिए. इनफैक्ट आई एम श्योर यू हैव हर्ड ऑफ दिस कंट्री in the way of the cartoons, you know. I think there was that song, you got to move it, that giraffe, and I'm forgetting, but couple of these animals. Madagascar is a movie franchisee, the animation, 3 4 movies have come out. I remember मैं पहला वाला हॉल में देखने गया था 2005 में with my college friends in Delhi. मुझे आज भी याद है. But anyway, I haven't seen the subsequent part. So Madagascar is a very big island nation. It is technically part of Africa, but it is off the coast of Africa. As I said, it's an island nation surrounded by the Indian Ocean on all four sides. It's a very big country. It's quite a poor country in terms of the economy. It is quite a poor country in that way. So Indian mission is set to become the first globally to become completely clean and green. The name of the capital of this country, I'll just write down on the chat window. It's called Antananarivo. Antananarivo, capital of Madagascar. Right. So Madagascar was a colony of the British. Before that, it was a colony. No, not the British. Sorry, it was the French, the Dutch, and the Portuguese. They, and I think the British as well. They all ruled Madagascar for various periods. But yeah, predominantly the French, Portuguese, and Dutch. They all took periods of about 100 years each. So 8 kilowatts of solar power will be generated from rooftop installation. This has become the most popular mode of सोलर एनर्जी जनरेशन. रूफटॉप के ऊपर आपने वो पीवीसी डाल दिया, फोटोवोल्टिक सेल्स. दैट इज वेरी गुड फॉर इंस्टॉलेशन. The Prime Minister of Madagascar, his name is Christian Anse, and the capital, as I've mentioned, it is Antananarivo. So some students often ask me, do we need to know the capitals and prime ministers or presidents of all the countries? My answer is no. You need to know the major countries only and the ones that are in the news. So right now this is in the news, so I've mentioned this. Although it is unlikely to be asked, but then because it was being spoken of, so I thought let me add this point as well. Okay, now there's a particular tree species which has been rediscovered. It was long believed extinct. 180 साल बाद, 184 to be specific, के बाद ये ट्री दोबारा डिस्कवर हुआ है केरला में. Now I want you to pay attention to this term. It's called sacred grove. Sacred grove क्या होता है हम बात करेंगे. But first of all, the tree, it's called Madhuka diplostimon. You might have noticed how I have mentioned मधुका का M in capital and D in small letters. उसके पीछे कारण है, whenever technical names or Latin names of trees are to be mentioned, the first letter is always in capitals. The first name and the second will always start in small letters. That's a rule. By the way, I didn't introduce myself. My MBA was in forest management from the Indian Institute of Forest Management in Bhopal. So yes, I have a fair idea about trees and wildlife. Right, okay. So this was discovered after 184 years by researchers from this institute. इसका full form देख लीजिए, जवाहरलाल नेहरू. It should be नेहरू. मैंने थोड़ा सा spelling error है. Kindly ignore that. Tropical Botanic Garden and Research Institute, based, as I said, in Kerala. Okay, now what are sacred groves? Let us understand. Sacred groves are so this is something we I don't know. A lot of scientists might occasionally blame religion or traditional practices for destruction of wildlife. Like in Europe, a lot of wolves were hunted down to near extinction because of a belief that the wolves are evil. So yes, a lot of traditional practices and superstitions may have affected, but sacred groves is a very good example of how traditional beliefs and religion have actually helped in preserve the natural environment. Sacred grove क्या होता है? These are parts of a forest where you have certain trees which are worshipped traditionally. Hinduism, we have this concept of Kul Devta. So a lot of the clans, they would worship a particular deity, who might be an avatar of another, deity. And generally, a single village or a group of villages in a block would sort of worship this particular deity. And वहां पे आप बिल्कुल भी डिस्ट्रक्शन नहीं कर सकते, क्योंकि वो पूरा नेचुरली प्रोटेक्टेड है बाय द पीपल. सो दिस इज अ वेरी गुड मेथड. उत्तराखंड और हिमाचल में बहुत सारे सेक्रेड ग्रोव्स दिखेंगे. और अभी केरला में भी अ ट्री विच वाज बिलीव्ड टू बी एक्सटिंक्ट, वो दोबारा वी हैव रिसीव्ड. ठीक है, विद इन अ नेचुरल सेटिंग रिव्यूअर्ड बाय इंडिजिनस dwellers. So just take a look at the definition. You may write this down if you want. I think my video has been restored. I can see myself again. Yes, very good. I can see myself again. Great to see that. Okay, let's continue. So I'm done with the couple of major topics. Now I'm going back to miscellaneous content. So that's why once again the headline is October Current Affairs. Today's class will be for roughly 1 hour. Okay, now this is very important. The first topic that I'm going to talk about in the next slide. Now, there is something called intellectual property rights, and I'll talk in detail about intellectual property rights in one of the classes. But for now, one of the things you can understand is that let's say this laptop that I'm teaching the class from, this is my personal property. I can touch it, I can feel it, right? And there is a physical ownership with me, Aritro Das Gupta. Similarly, the systems you are using, the mobile phone you are using, I have a hand sanitizer next to me. These are physical products which can be touched, and so they belong to somebody. But then there are products which the mind creates. तो अगर आपके माइंड ने कुछ क्रिएट किया हो तो फिर उसको भी क्रेडिट मिलना चाहिए. सो दैट इज वाई दैट शुड ऑल्सो हैव ओनरशिप. So that is why things which the mind has created, intangible resources which cannot be touched, they are known as intellectual property. Now intellectual property के तीन चार major भाग होते हैं. We have patents are for scientific inventions. We have copyrights. These are for corporate products. Copyrights are for artistic creations, and we have trademarks for corporates. For example, company logos, taglines, etc. So once these are developed, other companies or others cannot violate this till you have those IPRs. However, there is a general belief that a lot of these intellectual property rights generally favor the Western developed nations. I'll give you a really funny example. You might be shocked to hear what I'm going to tell you, but the neem ka ped, it's in Latin, it's called Azadi Rakhta Indica. So neem ka jo ped hai, Azadi Rakhta Indica, even that was patented by an American pharmaceutical company, and which is funny because we Indians have been using neem and its properties for like thousands of years, and they wanted to this thing. So that's why India and one of our fellow BRICS nations, South Africa, the two of them made a very important this thing call, because South Africa, like India, is a developing country, but it's a fast developing country. It's a regional power just like us. India, Brazil, South Africa, China, Russia, these are among the fastest. I could also add Thailand, Mexico, and a few others to that list. These are countries that are influential, which are really upcoming in the world. So these two countries have combined together to say that, to ask the WTO, the World Trade Organization, to relax the laws for now, because we are in the midst of a pandemic, and so we need certain quick fire approaches. They are not doubting the overall patent structure, but all they're saying is during this crisis, please ease up the situation so that the availability of medicines and vaccines can be quickened. In fact, there's a term called vaccine nationalism. You can actually look up this term, what is vaccine nationalism, to understand what exactly am I referring to. ठीक है, सो प्लीज इसको ध्यान से पढ़िए. इंडिया एंड साउथ अफ्रीका इन अ फॉर्मल सबमिशन टू द वर्ल्ड ट्रेड ऑर्गेनाइजेशन ऑन 2nd of October. Incidentally, the birthday of Mahatma Gandhi. He is obviously the father of India, father of the nation in India, but he's also very much associated with South Africa, having inspired Nelson Mandela during his anti-apartheid peaceful movement. ठीक है, कोई डाउट हो तो प्लीज पूछ लेना, ये थोड़ा सा इम्पोर्टेंट. सो डू आस्क मी if there is any doubt on this particular topic. Yes, I think my video is coming pretty well. Anyway, I'm moving further on. Now, the magnetic field of the sun. Now, this is a unique thing because most of the planets they have magnetic field which goes for about a few hundred years. The Earth has for about 200 years. तो Earth में क्या है कि जो भी आपका shall we say right. So now I want to talk about this. That's why India and one of our fellow BRIC. Right. So on the Earth, what happens is every 200 odd years, we have what is called a polarity reversal. So during normal situation, maybe the North Pole has a stronger pull. After this 200 years, it is the South Pole. So at this point, we are at the North Pole. North Pole has a stronger magnetic pull. It is shifting towards the south. As I'm speaking, we are in the midst of this change. ठीक है. So the sun is unique among celestial bodies. It has a polarity reversal every 11 years, which is like really puny, minuscule a time period. Right, now moving on to another really exciting thing. I think you guys are another thing which is done, you can say, combating climate change. I guess all of you are aware, generally plastics are now discouraged. We are trying to use less and less of plastic. Uh, Not sure whether it has actually worked in the practice, but at least theoretically, world over, there is a move against plastic. Now, plastic, you are probably aware, is a byproduct of petrol, of the crude oil sector. So now plastic एक बार use हो जाए उसको फेंक देना is of it's a massive waste. What if you could use it again to produce petrol? Now that's exciting, because obviously petrol is something which everybody craves. It's very expensive right now, as you know. um, so world's first plastic to petrol unit, amazing. This has actually been established in India, in the state of Andhra Pradesh, launched by the Guntur Municipal Corporation. Guntur is one of the biggest cities of Andhra. Guntur is also famous for one of the spices, one of the crops, that is chili. Guntur is often considered the global capital for chilies. It's associated with chili the way, say, Darjeeling would be with tea, right? The commissioner of Guntur city is Miss C. Anuradha. She has been largely responsible for this, really exciting thing. Uh, she may not be the scientist concerned, but she's the person governing this entire episode. So, as I said, it's considered the chili capital of the world. Now, this is one of the last topics and one of the most important topics that I'm going to cover today. So, first of all, before I start this topic, I want all of you to locate where is New Caledonia on the world map. Where is New Caledonia on the world map? Please take a look, and let me know where it is. So New Caledonia is an island nation, group of islands. Group of islands are known as archipelago. It is near New Zealand. It's a remote outcrop of islands. So basically, the South Pacific Ocean, is really large. It's actually bigger than all the landmass on Earth combined. The southern part of the Pacific Ocean is often called, as a nickname it's given, the Ring of Fire, because there are lots of active volcanoes, and these volcanoes, they lead to the creation of new islands. Now, what has happened in New Caledonia? New Caledonia is one of those volcanic islands. These are created over thousands, millions of years after volcanoes erupt regularly. Now, New Caledonia, as I said, very small country with a population, I believe, less than 1 lakh people, and it has been a French colony for a very long time, ruled by the French. Now recently there was a referendum. Referendum word का meaning क्या है थोड़ा समझ लीजिए. Referendum is different to an election. In an election we vote for a candidate or a political party or ideology. It's a thing that we vote either this person or the third person or whatever. In a referendum you vote for a decision, and in a referendum you either say yes or no. There is no third this thing. So referendum जैसे a very famous referendum was in the United Kingdom, the Brexit referendum, whether you want to remain with the European Union or want to separate. Another famous referendum in the UK was in Scotland regarding Scotland remaining with England in the UK, or whether Scotland wants to leave the United Kingdom. This was another important referendum. Now, this took place in New Caledonia regarding the independence movement, and you'll be shocked to hear the results. Let's just continue. So, so yes, there was this thing I've already explained. Now it all started with the Numia Accord. 1998 1998 में पहली बार ये आया था Numia Accord signed by the French. So from 1998 they started giving greater independence to New Caledonia. France was okay to give New Caledonia independence. In 2018 such an election took place, and 2020 another election took place, and shockingly both the times people have actually rejected independence. Now this might shock a lot of people, but it's probably very practical. Being such a small country, it is almost impossible to survive completely on your own. So people took the wise decision. They said no to independence, separation from France. ठीक है. So in fact this time the voting percentage did improve for independence. Last time 56% said no, only 44% said yes. This time it's 47 yes, 53 no. So yes, more people are wanting independence, but it's still not enough to go past the halfway mark. The president of France thanked the people of New Caledonia for their loyalty to the French Republic. By the way, the president of France, can you tell me who's the president of France? Anybody? The president of France is Mr. Emmanuel Macron. Right? Mr. Emmanuel Macron. ओके, नाउ वांट टू टॉक अबाउट स्वच्छ भारत. स्वच्छ भारत आप सभी को मालूम है 2015 में 14-15 में स्टार्ट हुआ था. अभी काफी साल हो गए उसके, बट अकॉर्डिंगली यू आल्सो हैव अवार्ड्स एट द एंड ऑफ ईच ईयर. So let us look at some of the key winners of 2020 Swachh Bharat Awards. We also have something called Swachhata Sarvekshan. वो एक अलग चीज है. That is more of a detailed survey. It is not an award given, but it is actually an on the ground survey. So this is awarded by the Jal Shakti Ministry. There were a couple of ministries like clean and drinking water, etc. They were all merged together to form the Jal Shakti Ministry, and this is headed by Shri Gajendra Singh Shekhawat, who is a BJP MP from Rajasthan. So under the Swachh Sundar Samudayik Shauchalay category, Gujarat bagged the first position at the state level. So among all the states, rank 1 here is Gujarat. Among the districts, rank 1 is Tirunelveli. Tirunelveli is in Tamil Nadu. It is also famous for minerals. I believe lignite is found, coal in this place. So there was also thing for blocks. So you have for state, district, block, and also for villages. Now block का मतलब क्या है? Combination of villages is called a block. A combination of blocks is called a district. Right? So district is headed by the district administrator. The collector. Block is headed by the BDO, Block Development Officer. Right. So there's this place called Chinnanur, which is in Tamil Nadu. This meanwhile has been ranked number 1 among the villages. So village and district both from Tamil Nadu, and the block is from Madhya Pradesh, while the overall state is Gujarat. There was a similar award which was also awarded by the Jal Shakti Ministry. मैं उस पर भी बात करना चाहूंगा because it's connected in a way. It's called the Gandagi Mukth Bharat Mission. As the name suggests, the idea is to rid the country of India from a lot of dirt and grime to make the country cleaner. Right. So this there is a joint rank one isme two states, that is Haryana and Telangana, have collectively backed the rank one under this Gandagi Mukth Bharat mission. And the two cities in both of them Uttar Pradesh. Interestingly, both the districts are in Uttar Pradesh. Prayagraj, formerly known as Allahabad, by the way, one of the IPMs, the triple IT Allahabad, is an option for you. So good news for all those who are sitting for that for their college. You were already going for it because of obviously the top brand, but now you also have a clean district. So Prayagraj and Bareilly, both in Uttar Pradesh, have been ranked number one among the districts. As I told you, Shri Gajendra Singh Shekhawat, he's a BJP MB in the Lok Sabha from Jodhpur in Rajasthan. Right? Just take a look at this, and after that, I will talk about a very important topic, one of the most important topics for the year. Let me just see for any questions on the chat window. Right. Let's move on. Now, very important topic. Once again, I would urge you guys, please take a look at the global map and see where these two countries are located in. One of the most important, events of last year. In fact, the only open war we had last year. Yes, there was a lot of proxy wars. There were wars which were in a way against a country, but ultimately they were against a regime, at least officially. This was an official war between two countries. This is also one of the first wars in recent history where one of the combatants actually surrendered. That is very rare in the modern world. So Armenia and Azerbaijan है कहाँ पे एक बात देख लीजिए. These are both former constituents of the USSR. I'm sure you have probably heard of the USSR. It was a superpower till the late 80s, and then the country broke up into 15 different parts, Russia being one of them, obviously the most powerful of them. So Russia and nine more countries. So there are nine countries which are in Europe. Russia is in both Europe and Asia, and there are five countries, the stans, which are fully in Asia. Among the European countries, two of them are Armenia and Azerbaijan. In fact, if you add a third, Georgia, Armenia, Azerbaijan, and Georgia together, three of them, they are called the Caucasian states. Right, as I said, former constituents. Along with Georgia, they are the Caucasus states. Caucasus is a mountain range in southeastern Europe, and in fact, white people are often called Caucasians. White people are technically called Caucasians. That's because, as per history, as per anthropology, these people, they originated from around the Caucasian mountains. So there is a dispute regarding the Nagorno-Karabakh region. That is a region that was disputed, just like, there are so many disputed territories on earth. This is one of them. So after independence, after these countries separated from the USSR, there was clash regarding this region. But for the last 15 odd years, or sorry, 25 odd years, it was a forgotten topic. They had put it under the carpet, but this erupted once again this year. Now, these two might appear insignificant small countries, but why it becomes important is because they have support piche se. Armenia was covertly, matlab not directly, but under the carpet, it was supported by Russia, while Azerbaijan was supported by Turkey. There is also a slight religious sectarian angle to this. Armenia is a Christian majority country, and so is Russia. Azerbaijan is a Muslim country, one of the only three Muslim countries in Europe, and Turkey, which is one of the most powerful Islamic countries. Turkey was supporting Azerbaijan. By the way, can you name the other two Islamic countries in Europe? Think of it. So this is the only country in this region. There are two from the Balkan regions. I'll come back to that. Let me continue with this. Okay, so that was the main clash. Now, Turkey and Russia have for the last 6, 7 years had various, not direct clashes, but they've had disputes. Both these countries, remember, are right now run by strong alpha male leaders. That's a category of leaders nowadays. So Putin is in charge of Russia. He's been for about 20 years now, and for the last 15 odd years, Mr. Erdogan, Recep Tayyip Erdogan, has been the leader of Turkey. Now, he has made Turkey much more inward looking. Turkey was a country which, since the First World War, was a country that was in many ways copying the West, wanted to be like the West. Um, it had a lot of liberal policies when it came to religion, but for the under Erdogan, that has sort of changed. Turkey has started becoming more Asiatic, embracing more of its Islamic, um, you know, uh, position rather than the European. Turkey's location is right in between. It's it just straddles. In fact, the city of Istanbul, one part of it is in Europe, the other part is in Asia. Anybody who watches football will understand. There's a lot of this heated rivalry between Galatasaray and Fenerbahce. Galatasaray from the European side, Fenerbahce from the Asian side. So there's a lot of historic rivalry. Now, Russia, as I said, covertly supporting Armenia and Turkey supporting Azerbaijan. Armenians are people known to Indians because Armenians, they are a trading community. Historically, they've been a lot into trade. So a lot of Armenians had actually visited India during the East India Companies, during the time of the East India Company, as traders. And in fact, the city of Kolkata, which was then Calcutta, the British capital in India, it had a large Armenian migrant population as traders. And there's also a very famous Armenian church. There are famous Armenian bakeries. There's a place called Nahum in Newmarket. Anybody who visits Calcutta has to go there for its wonderful cakes. It's started by Armenians. They still bake in the traditional Armenian style. So truce has been declared and Armenia has surrendered. We were just speaking a while back regarding artificial intelligence, and I must tell you, artificial intelligence has also entered the world of warfare. What was the biggest reason why Azerbaijan won? It was because of drones. Turkish supplied drones. Drones are unmanned crafts. So they would be, even if Armenia does destroy a drone, there's no human being inside it, so there's no valuable information to take out. So drones would keep on killing droves of Armenian soldiers. Yeah, so this was seen as the biggest reason. I'll now give you the answer to the question I had posed a while earlier. The other two Muslim countries in Europe, besides Azerbaijan, are Bosnia Herzegovina, a former member of the Yugoslavia, and also Albania. So Albania, Bosnia Herzegovina. Bosnia Herzegovina is one country. Albania, Bosnia Herzegovina, and Azerbaijan. One more piece of trivia: Azerbaijan is one of the only four countries where there are more Shias than there are Sunnis. It's a Shia majority country. Within Islam, there are two sects, two major sects. There are many, but Sunnis and Shias. So Iran is one country. There is Iraq, Bahrain, all three in Asia. They're neighbors, and there is Azerbaijan, which does share something of a border with, I believe, or it's near Iran at least. Right? So quite a bit of trivia for you guys. Let's now move back into current affairs. Right? That was a very important strategic topic that we did. Now, Quad is one topic which I'll talk about in detail in the next class for sure, in one of the next subsequent classes. Now, ministers of four Quad countries met in Tokyo on 6th of October 2020. Um, there was the 12th BRICS summit which was also held. Quad है क्या, मैं in brief आपको बता दूं. क्वाड में चार कंट्रीज है: इंडिया, ऑस्ट्रेलिया, यूएसए एंड जापान. क्या पता आप लोग नेक्स्ट क्लास को इनके somebody misses, तो इसी में इन ब्रीफ बता देता हूँ. These four countries, what is common between India, Japan, Australia, and USA? In recent years, they've all had disputes with China. As you know, we had the Galwan crisis, but similarly, Japan has also had disputes regarding several islands. Australia, which is far away from China, even they had massive trade issues. USA has had a trade war for years. Although now with Joe Biden becoming president, things could change a bit. But definitely during Trump, USA had a highly anti-China message that they had. Right. So let's continue. So the 12th BRICS Summit, this was held on 17th of November 2020 via video conference. BRICS is another international organization where India is a part. I told you Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa. So again, I'll talk about BRICS in detail some other class, but right now you just understand these are five developing countries, but not just developing, they are among the fastest developing nations, and they are regional powers. Within their own regions, they're really strong and powerful. Okay, you also need to track the themes, because for a lot of events, you need to know what was the theme for that particular year. So this year's theme was Partnership for Global Stability, Shared Security and Innovative Growth. Right, so I'm more or less done with the current affairs part. I'll now move ahead. Right, so we are done with the teaching part for the day. Hope you all enjoyed it. It was wonderful interacting with you all, and I really hope there are many more in the future. So just you may join WhatsApp anytime you want. This is our channel. This is the number 9354499530. नीचे सारा पेमेंट स्कीम दिया हुआ है. You may buy immediately. This is the expert faculty we have. Rabia, who's a fellow GK trainer. There's Ashutosh, who's for quants and reasoning, and there's Sanujam, who's an English expert. Any queries, any related queries, these are the numbers. You may call us at any time you wish to. एंड आपको मालूम ही है हमारा स्लोगन क्या है. ग्रेड अप सही प्रेप है तो लाइफ सेट है. हमारा यूट्यूब चैनल भी है, उस पर प्लीज आप बटन दबाइए, बेल आइकॉन टू सब्सक्राइब. ऑफ कोर्स वी हैव अ लॉट ऑफ लाइव कोर्सेज एंड मॉक टेस्ट व्हिच आर करंटली ऑनगोइंग. हमारा एक टेलीग्राम चैनल भी है. मैं खुद का भी एक टेलीग्राम चैनल रेडी करूंगा जिस पे आप लोग ज्वाइन कर सकते हैं. मैं आपको उस पर जीके के भी इंपॉर्टेंट टॉपिक्स टाइम टू टाइम भेजता रहूंगा. हमारे पास टॉपिक वाइज क्विजेस है. फॉर एवरी टॉपिक देयर आर डिफरेंट क्विजेस एंड ऑफ कोर्स यू मे कीप अटेंडिंग लाइव क्लासेस. Right, so that was pretty much it from my side. I'll just keep it open for a couple of minutes in case you guys have any questions to ask. Today was my first content class. I've taken a few strategy sessions. I've been teaching current affairs for many years, for more than 6 years, and before overall my education experience of more than a decade. So I really hope. I've also had international experience. I've been published abroad. My sessions have been shown in a university in Nigeria, been published for a US based trade magazine. I've worked with a university in Dubai for about 6 months, and right, and toppers for several examinations have been my students over the years. So definitely that is something we can continue here. I'm sure you guys will not disappoint me. This year also I will have several toppers. ठीक है, then मैं एक बार finally देख लेता हूँ if there are any questions. So अभी तो नहीं है, so I'll just stop this. So thank you so much guys. See you all very soon.